Hey everyone, this is Ryder from Skip. If you're watching this video, chances are you either have a passport or you don't. And if you do have a passport, you're going to need to renew it eventually. And if you're the 60% of Americans that don't have a passport, there's better reason than ever to consider getting a passport. I'll cover all of that in this video to make everything as clear as possible, whether you need to renew a passport or get a first-time passport, and why you should care about this right now this year. We're recording this video in 2021 where travel is massively rebounding after the pandemic. Again, still a long way to go. Here are the TSA checkpoint travel numbers across the US. Yesterday, over 2 million people went through TSA checkpoints, up from 600,000 exactly a year ago, from 2,500 in 2019. So you can see we're almost at pre-pandemic levels. Of course, most of these are for domestic travelers, but a lot are for international. Countries around the world are reopening to international tourists. Every week, new countries are reopening. Italy reopened back in May. And of course, because of the pandemic, there are now great travel deals, both for flights, for hotels, accommodation, and everything in between. Yet, according to this YouGov poll, only a third of American adults say they have a valid and unexpired US passport, and 20% of Americans have an expired or invalid passport. So first, the 90-second version on how to quickly renew your passport. And just for some context, our company Skip, which helps people use government services, has helped tens of thousands of people renew their passports and get first-time passports. So we've seen every possible way of renewing your passport. First, for renewals, you need to ask yourself, are you eligible? And you can do this by grabbing your passport and looking at it. First, is it in good condition? If the binding is torn apart or it's otherwise mutilated and damaged, you can't read this page or this first page is missing, you'll need to apply for a new passport. Second, were you at least 16 when your passport book was issued? You can open up the passport on the photo page and check to see when it was issued. It'll say both the issue date and the expiration date. A side note, we usually recommend people renew a year in advance. The reason for that, it can take a few months to renew. Of course, you can get it back much sooner, even same day if you're really in a pinch. I'll talk about that at the end, but many countries require a 6-month passport validity, so you need to give yourself some buffer time. Again, around a year in advance is a good idea. Adult US passports are valid for 10 years. So if you were over 16 when it was issued, you can renew. Was it issued less than 15 years ago? Again, same question, look at the issue date. If it was issued more than 15 years ago, aka if it's been expired for over 5 years, because you only have 10-year validity, you can't renew. And if you don't have your passport, you can't renew it. You have to apply as if a new one. So if it's been lost, damaged, stolen, or something else, there's a lost passport form you'll need to fill out along with the new passport form. I'll get to that. And are there any other special exceptions, like were you issued a temporary passport that didn't have the normal 10-year validity period? Or have you changed your name? There's a name change form if you have changed your last name, for example. So assuming you answered yes to those questions, you can renew by mail. You will need 3 things. You'll need to print this form. It's called the DS-82. There are 2 quick pages to fill out. You need to mark accordingly. It's pretty straightforward, putting down your information, whether you want a book and a card. A card is $30 extra. That is good for overland travel between Canada, the US, and Mexico. Any overland travel, not air travel. And you can use the passport card and book, for that matter, in lieu of a real ID. You know, everyone in the US has to upgrade their driver's license to the Real ID compliant driver's license by 2023. That is the latest deadline for the Real ID, but you can use your passport book and or card in lieu of that. You can get a large book if you travel a lot. There's no extra cost for that. And you need to put down your old passport information and fill out some quick information on the back form. That's it. The form is very straightforward. The trickiest part is your photo, okay? You can go to CVS, Walgreens, most drugstores. You can DIY your photo, which is tricky because you need to get it exactly right with the light background, no glasses, no hats. Your face needs to be centered, and there can't be shadows on your face. You can't be tilted looking funny. You need to be looking straight at the camera with a white, clear background and no shadows. We've seen people try it all. If you do DIY, you can then take 2 by 2 inches photo, put it on a 4 by 6 card, and print it out at CVS or Walgreens, and then just cut out the 2 by 2 photo. So take your photo as a completed form and go to the post office. And because it's a passport renewal, you don't need to make a post office appointment. You can just go mail in your passport. You will need a money order. It needs to be made out to the US Department of State. As of 2021, $110 if it's regular renewal, $170 if you need it expedited. That's back within 2 to 3 weeks. They've changed it to around 4 to 6 weeks since the pandemic, so keep that in mind. And a passport card, you'll need to add on $30 extra. So you can get the money order right at the post office for around $1.50. Put it all in a priority mail envelope with your old passport and send it to one of these 2 addresses here. National Passport Processing Center either in Irving, Texas for routine service if you're in California, Florida, Illinois, Minnesota, New York, or Texas, or to the Philadelphia address if you're in any other state or Canada. And for expedited service, you need to send it to another address here. It's all on the DS-82 form for you, and that's it. You can track it on the passport agency website when they've received it, processing, and when they send it back. And they will send back your old passport in a second envelope. So they will send your new one first, whether it's in a month or 2 months, depending on the processing times. And in the next mailing, they keep them separate, they'll send you your old passport back to your address. So make sure you'll be at this address you'll put down on your form. Now, what if you have urgent last-minute travel that you need a passport for, or there's an emergency? You can go to one of these passport locations on the map here. I'll talk about that at the end. First, let me talk about the 2/3 of Americans who don't have a passport, what you need to do. Many of the steps are the same. There's only 2 differences for getting a new passport. You will need proof of U.S. citizenship. You can use an expired passport if you have a passport in bad condition or over 15 years old, or you otherwise can't renew but you have an old passport. You can use that for proof of U.S. citizenship or your birth certificate. We always recommend collecting all of your proof of identity documents, birth certificate, passport, just to have on hand. A recent photograph. By the way, here's an example of how the passport photos should look. Like I mentioned before, it can't be too dark, too light, or with shadows. You can't have glasses on, which is a big change. Some of you with older passports do have glasses on in those, but they've changed the rules. So for the new passport, you will need a U.S. passport appointment. It's always easy to go to your local post office. You can go to USPS.com/scheduler. I'll leave all the links for all these forms in the description. You can quickly choose what type of passport service you need, whether it's a renewal. Of course, you don't need an appointment for a renewal if you already have your photo, but if it's a new passport selected, you can also select how many adults or children will be attending the appointment and choose by location or by date. Then when you go to the post office for your new passport appointment, make sure to bring this completed DS-11 form. The information is pretty similar to the renewal. However, you will need to put down your parents' information here and their place of birth on this form. That's the one major difference between the new passport form and the passport renewal form. Fill it out, take it in with your photo, and either your birth certificate, an old passport, driver's license is always good to have as well, and any other proof of identity or citizenship that you have. The post office employee will help you. They'll review everything, and they'll put together your packet, and you will pay the post office directly. It's always a good idea to bring both a debit card and a credit card, because if you need to get a money order at the post office, you will need to use your debit card for a money order. The processing times are similar. Like the passport renewal, you can choose whether you want it expedited or regular within a month or so, or within 2 months. Finally, if you need this for same-day travel, which is possible, or next-day travel, you'll need to make an appointment at your local passport agency. Many have changed since COVID, so ours vary. So you can go to travel.state.gov, or you can just Google passport agencies, and you'll see all the locations. Again, you can see here some of the locations. Most major cities in the U.S. have this, where you can go in. If you drop it off in the morning, you can pick it up in the afternoon in some cases, especially if you have proof of travel or proof of life or death emergency. You can get it back the same day or within a couple days. So if you really need it back within a couple days, that's your best bet. Finally, if you want all of this taken care of for you, we do have a passport concierge service, both for new passports and passport renewals. We come to you, take your photo, answer any questions you have, help you fill out the DS-82 or DS-11. And for renewals, we take care of the whole thing for you. Take your passport, you get your new passport back directly to your home or office address. For new passports, we'll book an appointment for you at the post office and help you along the way. So if you don't want to be running around to various places to figure this out on your own, we're happy to help. We've helped thousands of people with our door-to-door passport service over the past couple years in most major cities. You can go to helloskip.com/passport-concierge. The link is right below, or just Google Skip Passport Concierge. We can even help entire families with renewals or new passports. Maybe 2 people are renewing and 2 people are getting new passports, so we can help you with that as well. We hope this was helpful. If it was, hit subscribe. We cover all things related to government information and service to help save you time, to help you skip the red tape. And we have more on our free Skip app as well. It's Hello Skip in the App Store. All these links right below. Most importantly, stay healthy and safe travels.